people are not understanding why people go to work. They go to work to earn money so they can create their own business and start the job eventually of their own. I think a lot of the times, gosh, I keep standing on. I have a broken I have an injury, so my leg is always a little hard to kind of like stabilize. So I'm trying very hard to do this. But I think the biggest concern right now is everybody's going viral about I don't want a job, and it's called privilege. It's like petty privilege. And I think the biggest concern is that people don't understand that starting a business, right? When you start a business, you have to have money to start the business. And I remember when I started my own little business, I was in university. I started doing the arts and I developed skills, right? And the skills led into a larger vision, right? That was like in 1919. I started university in 1998, right? And I finished around 2009. So just imagine that's a many, many years of education to go through to understand how the process works. And during that time of going to university and having jobs between it, those jobs allowed me to generate a little bit of money so I could either make stuff. I never asked my parents for money. Hey, that was like a no-no. Like I did not do that. I didn't really live underneath their house. The moment I was in university, I was in my own apartment. I was doing stuff, I was developing things, I was studying. Then when I went back to visit them in Japan, I would then be working in the embassy. So for me, I always accumulated money through the process of developing skills along the way. It wasn't just an overnight thing. And I still don't have like a ton of money. It's not like I have a load of money to just like share and distribute, because the reason why I work for myself and I do all these things is because I've saved money. I've been able to save money to not hire anybody because I do everything myself. You see what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense. But when I was doing my master's, I was also building my WordPress, okay? And my WordPress came out in 2003, so maybe just when I was going into my master's, I was using WordPress. So WordPress has been in my life before YouTube. WordPress was always like where I put everything, my profile, my portfolio, my business, my work ethics, all of that stuff. I learned how to build the WordPress, like from ground zero. And from there, I obviously moved back to the States and I had to work. There were jobs that I did. You can go onto my website, my own website, and you can see the jobs. But without me having all of those jobs and skills, I definitely would not have been able to get to this point of saying, aha, I have all the skills that I need to make this work. I don't need to hire anybody. I can do it for myself. So the Poshmark I built up on my own, okay? I'm sure a lot of you guys are new to my channel, so I'm talking about business stuff, but at the same time, so like I make things, so I do stuff on Poshmark. I sell stuff on Poshmark, so you guys get a general idea of what I'm doing. And then on this channel, I'm building up skills to be able to do things. And I got fired. Hey, I got fired from the job, not because of anything that I did wrong. They actually were wrong about it. And I got unemployment. And the way you deal with unemployment is, even if you have a job, be nice, be cool, be pleasant, because that in the end, if you do lose your job, will help you earn money while you've lost your job. But it all boils down to how ethical you are in the environment, right? That's like an important part. So that's the thing. And then eventually, I work hard. I don't have any kids, okay? I have my fur baby. And because I have a fur baby, and I've had many other fur babies in the past, obviously, I've had the time to build myself up. I didn't, at the age, I'm sure everybody who went to university with me or high school has ended up having families after university. I didn't. I chose to continue working on business skills. learning to understand how to manifest money and to grow something on your own. And as I said, the best way to do that is to actually have multiple skills, which is what I've shown on my channel, and be able to do like a ton of things by yourself, because then you're not hiring anybody. You can just get on any one of the platforms you run or own and put it together and set it up for yourself. So the benefits of going to school, okay, or to learn skills, is to learn skills and go into the real world to experience those skills firsthand, to learn how they function and work before you start even thinking about starting a business. Like I didn't even consider it a business back then. I called it the side gig. Okay, all of the stuff that I'm doing right now was the side gig. This was the stuff that I was doing on the side. It wasn't a, I mean, I thought about having a business and building it up by myself, but I didn't think that it would follow me along the world or around the world. So I lived in different countries. And the only thing that was stable was for me to have my own business. That it's the only thing that made sense. And now that I lost the joke, come on, Dior. What is it, baby? Come. I'll give you food just now. Come on. Hi. Are you saying hi to everybody? Hello. Sorry, my business partner has decided to enter the building because he is the boss. He is the boss, right, Dior? Yes, yes. And with that said, because I was able to build everything up from ground zero and learn the skills, I have constructed a document that people can buy for $7 if you're interested, which is on the link below. Okay, I'll leave it at that. It's called Career First Aid. So from somebody who has had experience in the workforce and who has developed skills with business. Hi. Oh, you want me to stand here? With business, it's been important for me to adjust. You need to have enough skills to adjust the skills to be able to build up a vision. You can't just have one skill. And and believe it or not, I didn't study business. I mean, I got a certificate and I got qualified for business, whatever. But I didn't get a job. I mean, I've worked in business. Welcome in. I didn't get a job I've had jobs in offices for businesses, but I've been building my business, my vision, my concept steadily since university. But those only happened because I was constructing textiles. And it's not even like a big business. I'm not even making like a fortune. Make no mistake, by the time I was in university, the first experience was when I started making the artwork, and the artwork actually sold to people, clients, I think, when I was in university. And that was generating like not a lot of money. It was just a little bit. But the skills that I got from learning how to create the art was the starting point of developing part of the business, right? Craft is the beginnings of developing a vision. Hi, Dior. I know, I'm sorry. I'm busy talking and not paying attention to you. Hi, I'll be with you just now. He's like, who are you talking to? He doesn't know who I'm talking to. And I think it's just important to understand that you can't wing it or try to fake it, even though AI is out. You have to make sure that you have those skills, because those skills in the end are going to become a very, like for me, if I didn't have those skills, and I was not living in the time of AI. I was living in the time before social media existed. As I said, I started doing WordPress. WordPress came out before WordPress and MySpace. And SoundCloud came out. I think SoundCloud even came out before YouTube. So I was playing around with technology when the internet came out, but it wasn't like a social media, have a camera in front of you and film. It was not, when I was filming and I was taking photographs, it was for university, for the arts. So it was like a whole different kettle of fish, as you would say. But I still think that it's important. You know, I've seen all these things on social media. Oh, I don't want to go to work and I don't want to study and I don't want to do this. I was like, that's called privileged life. When I was growing up, my parents would have like I started okay. I started working at the age of 15. My parents were not like, "Oh, go hang out and play." They were like, "You're going to get a job." Okay. At 15 years old, you're going to babysit. And then you're also going to help people in a dry cleaner. So I actually worked at the very first job I had was a dry cleaner. So I worked in a dry cleaner for the first like couple of months or first year, and then also babysat. So without social media, we were able to find things to do and keep ourselves busy for a majority amount of time, right? That's I think that life during the Gen X time was just taken away because of the social media, but you can bring it back, and by listening to people and to analyze and to take precautionary directions as to how you're going to structure your business. Say, for instance, you do want to do a business, just make sure, bear in mind, like, I would never ask my parents for money, ever. Like, it wasn't a thing that I did, right? I was always all about, let me make my own money and start developing my own skills and learn how to do this without mommy or daddy, because that's, like, my parents don't have a business. They don't have a business. Just because they worked in the embassy, but they didn't ever start a business. So I was like, well, if you're not going to start a business, I'll start one. So I started a business because my parents were not like business people. So they worked in the office space, but they didn't necessarily have business. Like they understand business on a very basic level, but they don't go into the depth of understanding websites and how to put things together and all these things. Maybe they know how to save money because that's what parents do. But it was never like given to me. I wasn't given money. I didn't grow up in a family where money it wasn't an option for me. I had to work. Okay. So for those who are absolutely going bananas over, I'm not going to work, I was like, well, if you're not going to work, how are you going to support yourself? And if you're not going to support yourself, how are you going to maintain a business? And how are you going to create a business if you don't have the skills to put the business together? And how are you going to save money if you don't have, if you want to, like, how would you save money if you're not going to hire people? Like, this is what I teach on my channel. I teach how to make sure, if you're going to do it by yourself, which I've been doing for years now, since 19 whatevers, right? And I studied music production. Not one cousin started doing it after me, but there was nobody in my family directly. My sister does music, but she doesn't produce her stuff. No family member in my family who learned music production. For me, it was like I was the black sheep of the family, literally speaking. So those were all the skills that I learned, right? And I learned production in high school in 1998 in Tokyo. So my lifestyle has been a little bit different than what you would find generally on social media, right? This is not the thing that I would do normally in a normal lifestyle, but the internet becomes a very big, important factor. Hi, Dior. I know. I do see you. I do. Hi. Yeah, I know. Oh, he's talking today. Are you talking today? Yeah. Hi, I know. You're my baby? Yeah, you're my baby? Yeah. Okay. Having a moment. So, say for instance, you are in college or in high school and you've started working, or even junior high. I was in junior high when I started working. And then we had all these extracurriculum activities that we had to do from school. So it kept me very busy. Very, very busy. I don't know what everybody else does these days because I don't have a kid that I'm raising. But I know from my experience growing up that there were like things that we did and things that we just didn't do, right? But something like this could help guide you through understanding the antics, even before you start working, of what the etiquettes are in an office space. Not because people really want to work, but we have to survive and make money, right? The survival is what forces us to work. It's not that we are really wanting to do it. You know, the enthusiasm is not the work, it's the after effects. Like, what can we earn from it that will help us develop develop the skills so we can. And everybody wants to escape. Well, you escape by going through the wave and then out the other side. Hopefully you've survived the other side and you conquer it. You keep going, you push forward. You don't just, this is the, so it's a document. I'm just holding up the document, okay? But I'm not going to show you what it is. I think it's important for you guys to anticipate what, like, I briefed on it. You can go onto my website. I've linked it down to the bottom of this. You can take a look at my website that I built, and then I've created a digital shop. That's the next phase of my business, and I'm doing digital stuff besides e-commerce, which is what I was doing on Poshmark, and then my music production, which keeps me safe and copyright free on YouTube, because YouTube is very, very, very focused on making sure that we use our own content, right? That's like an important part of understanding developmental skills, is we want to keep, like, look at it this way. YouTube is also a business. TikTok is also a business. Facebook is also a business. We have to respect the spaces to grow on any of the platforms. It is like a job, right? It's like a job. We keep saying, oh, we don't want to work, or people say they don't want to work, but now they're on social media working for the bosses of social media. And honestly speaking, I can't say that there's a lot of money making regular viral videos. I've done it once or twice. And I only got like $75 out of 40,000 views. And I was like, that's it? So if you've worked a normal job and you know that you can earn more money, okay? You can earn more money starting the process of working in an environment that pays you rather than expecting that viral moment to happen. It will maybe switch the perspective of virality over practicality, right? That's the biggest thing, is I think people don't quite understand, because maybe not everybody has started a job. But I'm giving you a firsthand explanation of what's going on here. And because I've now moved my LLC, my website, to start into a formatted version of a shop, right? I'm no longer paying somebody else's company. I mean, okay, WordPress, of course, you know, at the end of the year, we pay a monthly fee. And then you have a domain, but you don't really need a domain for WordPress, which is great. So you knock that out of the whole situation. And it becomes a space where you can grow independently without having to pay large portions of money, which is where business comes from. And people always try to minimize the idea of how the finances work. But the moment you start a business, the more you realize the money piles on. And once the money starts piling on, you start wondering, what are you going to do? So you have to remove, like, if you have to learn all the skills to work for yourself to make it possible, like myself, I had to do that. I don't have a fortune of money to hire people. I've had to accumulate all those skills after many, many years to finally say, okay, I think I got it. I mean, I don't have it. Like, I don't have it completely organized, but I think I have it enough to know how certain things work. So I think that's the biggest takeaway here, is that I think there is that misconception of where work starts and how social media fits in, and where this all comes from, and how to make money, and if parents are going to be the sole caretakers of everybody for the rest of their lives, which I'm pretty sure not everybody has family members that have a fortune of money, because I don't. I wish I did. I certainly don't. I have a partner who is absolutely amazing. He works for CBS News, and he is so supportive. I've known him since I was in high school. So we have a long history of friendship before we moved into a relationship, right? I knew him for 20-something years before we jumped into a relationship, which is sort of a good thing because I had to get to know myself to understand how everything works before I can actually say, okay, this is going to work because I understand where you're coming from. So a stabilized environment also helps grow your potential in growth in a business or a job, whatever it is you have. So I think that that is the main key to this. But to be prepared just in case it does happen to you and something happens where you end up like me becoming unemployed. Okay, I became unemployed because of, and then it just got worse because not only I had a three double whammy. I lost my job, I broke my leg, then I still haven't been able to go back into the workforce because people think I'm either overqualified or I am too old to be in the workforce now. So that has become another whammy. So three things in a row. I mean, it always says, everybody says it always comes in threes. And I do think that's, the more I look at it, it probably is true. Everything does come in threes. Hi, I'm going to feed you now. Yeah, to you, I know. I'm sorry. You're like, who are you talking to? So I just want people to bear in mind that that is the starting point, and my file comes from an experienced person who's done her master's, who's worked in government, who's done education, who comes from a background of family members that have been principals and owners of schools back in the day in South Africa. And in the States, I have family members that are involved at NASA. People who were at NIH, who were running or owning or being in, I don't know, they were somehow involved in it. They were scientists. So I come from a family of academia. It's not like I'm making stuff up here. It's coming from experience and from the background that I come from. So, and none of that belongs to me. The only thing that belongs to me is everything that I've put on the internet that I've built myself. And that happened over years. It didn't just happen overnight. Like my websites I've built happened over years. The WordPress happened in 2003, 2004 while I was doing my master's. Building the projects up, putting that together. I even have it on my images I have of all the things that I've done are actually on my WordPress, right? And then from WordPress, I shifted over to Wix. I don't really pay for Wix, but I use that for my other portfolio because it's generally a little bit easier to use. However, they charge more if you want to like upgrade, which is like kind of ridiculous. So there's a whole catch. You need to understand how to save money. And the way to save money is to understand the technical side of things and the history of each one of these platforms. It's not just like the people that make the most amount of money are the people that create their own growth or development and start their own whatever's like apps, right? Create your own app and you can make even more than a viral video. Like that's the point. Like a viral is one thing, but you're making that one viral. Think of the tens and thousands of people are going viral every single day. Who is making the most money? Not those tens of thousands of people. The people at the top are making the most amount of money. And they're waiting for people to do that so they can make them even more money. So the viral is just viral for a little bit. Only until you realize the bigger picture. See, so the bigger picture is create your own vision, develop your own skills, learn how to do things, make stuff, construct things, whether it's technology, whether it's sewing, whether it's art, whether it's fashion, and film, photography, whatever it is. But if you want to do modeling, do modeling. I did modeling when I was younger. That's okay. You can do anything you want. Just make sure that your focus has an end goal. Like the end goal is massive. It's important. You don't want to just be the person treading the treadmill and going viral consistently to make the money for the person that's making other people go viral thousands and thousands and thousands of times every 5 seconds, because that's what's happening, right? So, I think you just need to think broadly about the picture rather than a one-sided perspective. Like, who makes the money in the end? The business people. Why? Because they're thinking past a certain level. It's no longer a game. This is like business. I play chess, okay? And when I play chess, I focus on those little pieces. So I see it from a larger perspective. I don't just see some person playing a video game and then you're like you're dealing with like Street Fighter. You're like kind of doing it with like working it out with like another character and just focus on that perspective. I'm coming from the angle of what chess used to be. It was huge for strategy. It's a strategy. I don't even think it's a game at this stage. I think that's where like the biggest leaders came up with like the visions. Chess was like the thing. So you want to see it from all angles. You want to be the person running the whole thing. You don't want to be the person going up the ladder for consistent virality. I've been there. I've seen it. I've done a few. And it's not, that's not the end game. The end game really is your own path to getting to the stage of being comfortable enough to let go. If you are going to let go of a job, to let go, to know that I'm going to be secure and I'm going to be able to make money, because it's not easy, I promise you. If I've been doing it since 2003, and even before that, because the art became like the projects, right? Just think of the years that have passed. It's now 2006. Okay, that's many, many years. 2003 to 2006 is the duration of time. And I've just begun. I've just begun the vision. It's not even a completed anything. It's just something that's accumulated over time. And you accumulate the skills over time through learning different skills and different jobs. And that's, so people can't just sit back and say, oh, I just want to go viral. It's not going to be like the answer. Viral is not like you want to have like goals, okay? It's not just about looking cute and being viral on social media, because what's that going to get you? Like, the person at the top's making a fortune off of you. That's what I know. While you're sitting there trying to wait for the next viral, the other people are like, oh, thank you for going viral, because now we've made like double the amount that we did before. Just saying, let's put it into perspective, folks. So rather than people panicking about, yeah, all my like stuff is on the bed. Panicking about, oh, I have to go to work because it's something we must do. Yeah, it's unfortunately, that is life. Are you going to stay in your parents' house? Or are you going to eventually like move away like I did? I moved away from my parents so my first experience living on my own was in university. They were living in Japan, I lived in the States. Well, not really. They lived in Japan, I moved to the States to study, right? So I left them in Japan. So for 4 years, I was basically studying on my own, independence. Every summer, I would go back and visit them, right? That was like the thing. And that is like how my life turned out. And I'm sort of glad that I had to be away from my parents when I was 17, 18, because that forced me to realize, oh, life is not easy. Like, I need to survive here. Like, what am I going to do? I need to make money, right? I need to do things that will, and obviously I had money coming when I was working in Japan. I had a little bit of money saved up, right? So you save money. You also save money when you work. So don't just like, when you have, like, seriously, a viral video could probably make you like, maybe 100,000 could make you 300. I don't know. That's nothing. That's nothing. You can sell 3 items on Poshmark or Depop or eBay or something, or wherever, even on your own platform, and make that same amount of money doing it in a different way, or even work. Sorry. Work will give you an hourly wage. Social media does not. I do not earn on social media. I earned a little bit when I was doing TikTok shop, but I was nowhere near like going viral on there. I had a few. Sorry. I had a few instances. 2 seconds. I think I need to get a lozenge. Hold on. I'm going to feed you now, dear. Hold on. It always happens. Excuse me, folks. I know you can hear me still. This is always the case for me. Water might be good. Hold on, viewer. I'm going to feed you now. Hold on. Sorry. Thanks for holding up. Yeah, I had popcorn earlier, so the kernel got stuck in my throat. It's like, okay. But I think people just need to realize that work is, you could make more money working a normal job. Hopefully they pay you more than like 20. But you have to start with something. You need to have something on that resume. And if you do not have something on that resume, you have to start from somewhere. And somewhere sometimes means starting with a little bit of money and then building it up, because then you get qualifications and skills. And everybody talks about, oh, we don't want to go to college or all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know, guys. College might be, you can even do online college. You can get your skills built up. I have like years of education behind me. I also have family members that started schools and were principals. So education is always like the grounding of everything that I personally do. But this biggest problem right now that I'm hearing is, I think there's just a complete disconnect when people say they don't want to work versus what work does for you. It gives you freedom. That's another thing. It allows you freedom. Your parents don't ask you more questions. You start seeing the larger picture, and then you start becoming independent. That's where a job fits in. The job fits in because the independence matters. And that's how you can start branching into the larger vision of like YouTube is not easy. YouTube is not easy. I think everybody has their own path on YouTube or on social media. And for me, it's been a little bit harder because I've had to do other things. My big break was actually lots of things. I've done lots of things. So I think it's just important to realize that looking at work as a duty versus what it really is, which is to give you that freedom and that space to have that independent life, is the one thing that is never spoken about. And since I don't have any kids, I feel like it's important for me to be like the guide on social media to help people understand that this is now the time to like step on in and really start talking to the youth, if the youth are listening, to explain to them that work is not because you have to work, and you work to become independent. So you don't have to depend on your parents. Or maybe you're a nice person and you want to take care of your parents in the end, right? So that's where that comes in. And if you eventually become successful in a business, great for you. You could become the next YouTube creator. You could become the next top-notch TikTok, not TikTok, but you can develop your own app, your own social media app to become successful. So you don't have to worry about those viral moments. You become the boss of whatever it is that you're constructing. And that's where work helps. Work helps because it identifies where you can take your mind. What you need to do is, people need to get off the video games so they just think like in front of them, but you have to think on a larger spectrum and from above. So if you play chess, you know that you're looking at all the pieces and you're analyzing how the pieces are going to move. Same thing applies for work in offices and companies. You have to analyze how all the apps or the platforms work from the other perspective. Who's making the apps? How is it created? Who's developing these? What skills do they have? That's the other thing. If you want to become really successful, learn how they created TikTok, learn how they created YouTube, learn the back end. That's the next generation. That is the next future. The future comes with learning the skills. And even for parents, learning the skills to understand to protect people is like the biggest thing. But you have to learn how the technology works. Brandon is an IT specialist, so I'm in a situation where I'm already with people who are dealing with, like, they used to build their own websites, like, with codes. So for me, I took it another level. I went to WordPress, and we don't necessarily need codes to make it, but it's very, very complex. It's almost like working with codes. They do have the codes in the back end. But that's the point. The point is you have to understand how that technical stuff works. Maybe get qualifications in IT, bachelor's in science or master's in science, and use those skills to develop success. Don't just leave it up to the universe and have everybody tell you, oh, we don't want to work. And then everybody thinks that the viral moment is like this huge thing. No, you guys are getting it all wrong. It's all wrong. I don't know who's teaching who, but at this stage, somebody needs to step on in. So if you really want to have something that will help you and protect you, this is just 3 pages. 3 pages, folks, okay? 3 pages. It's not hard. It's for $7, and this will give you a guide, okay? Like, I worked in the American Embassy. I worked in the visa department, and I know on the inside how government works. So this will protect you. This will protect you if you're needing to get assistance or help learn how to maneuver, like, and this is just the beginning. I'm going to have a lot of other ones that I'm going to start putting together. This is just the starting point. So I will have on my own site. Are you listening, guys? Make your own site, because when you start doing that, things can start changing. Your own site, rather than putting it on other people. Create your own platform, right? That's like the whole thing. But this eventually, and it's underneath my Nomadics LLC, if anybody wants to learn how to put an LLC together in the States. I also put together a nonprofit organization in South Africa. I stopped using it because people were expecting me to do the job, whereas if I was going to earn money, I was going to have to see that there was proof that people were actually doing something, and it never happened. So I decided, no, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going to do the nonprofit anymore. So all this stuff that I'm doing, I don't have help. I am the only person strong enough to actually focus on everything, from the craft to the ideas to the concept to the websites. It's all me. It's all me. I'm not just playing around here. This is like real deal work. I might not walk around with a suit, right? I used to wear suits, but that's a thing of the past for me, because now I have to work for myself, right? This is step number 256 at this stage. But for $7, you can receive this, and it's just a master's. It's a quick 3-page master's read, and you can have it forever, and you can laminate it like I did, and you can put it on your desk, and you can always remind yourself, that's going to save me from disaster, because that guides you. If you lose your job, it will guide you through unemployment and how to receive it, right? In the United States, there's unemployment. I don't know how it works in other countries. I don't think South Africa has an unemployment. They might. I was never unemployed in South Africa, so it wasn't like a thing for me. But in the United States, there are certain ways that you have to follow a course. You want to make sure that being responsible saves you. It saves you financially. It does. People don't try to take you to court. People don't try to get their lawyers on you. The protection comes with understanding how office spaces and politics and governments actually work on a larger scale. Now, I don't know if it was a blessing or a curse, but I ended up working in government because of my dad's job, and then other jobs around it through the arts and the music. So I've had many, many jobs. Feel free to look at my resume. My resume you can also find on my Wix, which connects over to the Nomadics, but it gives you a direct link to my resume if you really want to see what I'm about. Or you can just go to my channel and see I have business, I have fashion, I have art. Oh no, I have music and then art. So 4 sections have now been created. Like it's like a different school for each. So you don't have to go like to 10,000 places. You can literally just go to my channel. And if you want to learn music, you learn music from da 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 all the way up to Z, right? How to produce music for YouTube. If you want to do fashion, you learn the basics of fashion and how to recycle and what you can do with the fashion that you have right now and how to make money, because I'm doing that. And then you have the arts, and technology comes into play as well. Technology plays a role in everything, right? That's like a given now. Society is all about technology. It's just how it is. And I grew up in the world where I saw it before technology and while technology was happening. So I saw 2 different angles. Then the arts, right? The art and photography fall into place with graphic design and Photoshop and how to adjust, for instance, the thumbnails. I mean, all of this stuff falls, they're all connected, right? And then I bring all of them together with connections. And then you have, what do I have? The last one, oh yeah, the music. Oh, all 4 of them. I've already spoken about it in the music, right? And the business goes through how I brought all of those together and created the vision. So this should be a guide to help you through like learning how to start the process. Like I said, I didn't study business. Believe it or not, I did not study business. I studied each one of these fields individually. And then I was like, oh, if I just put all of them together, this is what I got. Boom, it's business. There you have it. And that's how my conclusion to business came about. I studied, I studied the art, I studied the music, but they were all separate. Fashion, all separate, never business. So this business thing is my own independent like guide process development. Here, I'm coming to your. Okay, I have to feed my fur baby, and I will speak to you guys soon, but feel free to take a look at my platforms, my site. I probably need to upgrade my WordPress eventually, but I'm now creating a digital shop storefront, and I figured I had to kind of like put that together, which took me a bit of time because I was doing a lot of Poshmark. But now we can shift from just having products, you buy stuff and you resell it, to digital products, which is like papers and research and documents. On the other format, which is like education, right? That's like the education side. So the first education one would be the career first aid. You're welcome to take a look. And it should guide you, but just be reminded. Don't just focus on why do we need a job? More like, what can a job bring to us that can help us in the future? That's like, we need to switch minds, folks. We need to switch the I can't to the I can, because it will go to da 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 da. Okay. I've had my speech today. Have a good one.